Welcome back to Uncle Danny Cooks. Today we're going to do a vegetarian chili. I figured for this one we're going to have a lot of cutting to do. I kind of want to show you a couple tips and tricks that I work with to help myself. Alright, so you want to get your cutting board out. You'll see I have paper towel here. What I like to do with the paper towel is to fold it in half. Now I have two pieces here, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm securing my cutting board because cutting boards like to slip around on these countertop surfaces. So what you do is you take some wet toilet paper, no toilet paper or paper towel, and you put it on the counter and then put your board over it. Okay, it is incredibly hard to move this board now. Okay, it is nice and rooted. All right, get your knife. Now, with all things, the injuries I saw in the kitchen when I was working in the kitchen that had to do with a knife were either through abject pure stupidity or due to improperly sharpened knives. If the knife is dull, you're going to cut yourself. It is absolutely vital you keep a sharp, keen edge on your knife. Dull knives are your worst friend. They will cut you. Okay? So the tips are sharp knife, secure cutting board, and then we can go and start working on all of the components for this dish. Okay, so we're gonna start with celery. Okay, now sometimes you're gonna get some really great fresh celery. Sometimes this store just doesn't have the best celery. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna trim off what you can. Okay, doesn't need to be perfect. How much are we going to start out with? Well, we're going to start out with about 2 celery stalks. Okay, doesn't need to be perfect. This is just flavor components. You want to rinse them off, get them nice and clean. I like to start here with the celery. You'll see this is just handling damage. It's not dirt or bad, it's just a little crushedness. Don't worry about that. When dealing with celery, you can, when you want to get you do celery and peanut butter, you just cut it in things, spread on the peanut butter, you're good to go. But when you want to do celery in cooking and you don't want it very noticeable, what you're going to do is you're going to create strings of celery by cutting down the channel. Okay, and now I got four pieces here, and now I can cut that into nice manageable little pieces of celery to go into my chili. Okay, now more often than not when you're cooking with celery, you're also going to be cooking with carrots. Now I have a lot of great tips and tricks for carrots, but as you well know, I'm lazy. So what I like to do for vegetarian chili or for sauces or whatever that deals with carrots, I get my shredded carrots. I know it's not the best, but you know what? It's easy and it's less work for me, and I'm lazy. So there you go. That's how you do the carrots. You're welcome. Okay, so now back to the celery. Alright, again, I am cutting strips down the channel here, making this into 4 sticks of celery that will be easy to cut and are nice and controlled sizes. Now, what I like about the vegetarian chili is that it's very versatile. but it gives it the flavor is very intense. It's a very deep, satisfying flavor. I use this chili for chili dogs. I'll use this chili for nachos. Use this on rice. It's just so versatile and so flavorful. I like a good regular meat chili, but this vegetarian chili, I really love. I think it gets a great flavor, and it's very satisfying, and it's low calorie, and it's very healthy. So, all pluses. Woohoo! Okay, so now we have the celery cut, and we've expertly shredded the carrots, as shown. I can't show you any more tips for that other than that was pure education right there. All right, so now we're going to go to the onions. Okay. The onions, I cut off the two ends. Cut down the center. I have now 2 half-moon pieces ready to go. I can now see the layers. Take the top layer off, get all that dry peel off. Alright, there we go. Now, I don't want you to cry because of the little bit of waste there, alright? Don't cry. Onions are notoriously sad vegetables and makes you cry every time. But you need to be strong. You need to be fierce. You're a cook. Don't let the onion get the better of you. For this recipe, what I'm doing is I'm cutting it lengthwise, okay? So if I were to pull this out, what you see is the rings. You can see the rings. It's sliced so that you can see the rings. Now, what I do is I put it here. Now, there's a lot of ways to cut onions, and I really don't care which way you use. A lot of people are going to say this way is better, that way is better, whatever. It's whatever is easier for you. That's the better way. I do it at an angle. Why am I doing this? I want to get nice small pieces of onion. And done. Okay. Small diced onion. Is it perfect? No. Is it going to be cooked to the point where you're not going to see it? Yes. Does it matter? Nope. So, make it easy for yourself. But you want it small pieces. Smaller the pieces, the greater the surface area. The greater the surface area, the more dispersal of the flavor you're going to get. And honestly, that's what we want. Onion gives a natural sweetness, believe it or not, to the chili. We want that sweetness because it is going to go against the peppers, which we haven't even gone into yet, but we're going to. So as you can see, we're going to get through this whole onion. Okay, we're going to do the second part the same way. Alright, I'm back. I'm not crying because of the onion. I'm crying because I'm just so proud of you guys for getting this far into my video. Now we're going to do red pepper. Alright. You can use green pepper, yellow pepper, orange pepper. I like red pepper for the sweetness. Again, the sweetness is going to counteract some of the heat. Now, as you can see, I didn't cut it in half and I didn't cut the top off. What I did is I kind of made 4 walls. Made 4 little walls type thing, okay? This is what I call walling it off. Alright, you got to wall off your emotions. Get yourself under control. The onion is not that sad. Alright. You cut it into strips, and from strips, you cut it into bits. Now, here's the thing. I want you to be very, very cognizant. These videos are not for you to become professional chefs. These videos are not for you to do great, amazing, presentations with everything perfectly cut and perfectly done. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. I cook to eat. I like to eat. I like good food. I try my best to make everything look pleasing, but that is not my goal. I'm not making perfect food. I'm making delicious food. All right. So again, do the best you can. Again, this pepper is going to be part of a larger whole Chili is more of a stew where everything kind of gets cooked down. So it doesn't need to be perfect. I don't want you to worry about that. Okay. So as you can see, I'm still cutting into strips. And you can see some of these seeds on here. You're going to say, why do you have seeds? Well, seeds also impart flavor. So I'm not going to take out all the seeds. Not for this one. Not for the chili. I'll do for other things. Okay, so that was red pepper. That's a sweet pepper. That pepper you don't have to worry about. Now we're going to go into the bad boys. What you going to do when the bad boys come for you. All right, and here we go. These are the bad boys. You got your serrano, you got your jalapeno, you got your red chili. Actually, I'm sorry, these hablano, serrano, red chili, jalapeno. I have somebody in my household who does not appreciate, two people who do not appreciate the the sensation of spicy food to the extreme. A little bit is acceptable, anything more than that is not. I took out the seeds. The seeds are going to impart more flavor, but it is also going to add more heat to the dish. I made the decision one time to put the seeds in there with the peppers, and the result was it was very delicious, very deep flavor. But I also had my daughter and wife complaining it was too spicy. So you're going to make your own determination of what you want to do. Okay, like the red pepper, I'm creating little strips and we're going to cut those down. Okay, this pepper itself is not too hot, but it still has the capsaicin, which means it is going to be hot, which means that the board itself has been contaminated, my hands are contaminated, and the knife is contaminated. So from this point forward, we as a group, you, me, and everyone watching, we need to be cognizant. Okay, if you're going to touch yourself in any way, especially near your groin, buttocks, face, eyes, nose, mouth, you need to wash your hands at least twice before you even think about touching yourself in any way, shape, or form. Okay, I promise you, and I've warned you in previous videos, but we're using a lot of peppers here, so I'm going to warn you again. And I'm not warning you because, hey, you know, I want to be a good person. I'm warning you from experience. I have done this where I have been cutting. I've had to inadvertently use the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, proceeded to go to the bathroom, and burned myself horribly in the nether regions due to the fact that I didn't thoroughly wash myself before I went to the bathroom. And therefore, it was immense discomfort. And I don't want you guys to go through that. So, take it from Uncle Danny. If you're going to do anything from here on out, before you finish with the peppers, you need to wash your hands at least twice thoroughly. At least twice thoroughly. Okay, I'm doing the jalapeno pepper now. Okay. Again, this 1 or 2 seeds is not going to add too much. So, you know, but if you were to add all the seeds, which you can do, and if you like spicy and get a better flavor, you're going to add those seeds. I just have people in my household who do not appreciate that, so I will not. Alright. So, jalapeno, poblano, serranos. My Serrano. My Serrano brothers and sisters. Okay, so as you can see, what I'm trying to do is just get these open so I can just take out the seeds, best of my ability. Again, I enjoy having seeds in there, but I'm not cooking just for myself. Alright, so when you do it, play around with it. I promise you, if you try it once, you'll make it again, because it is very good and it is so versatile. It can be used for so many things, and really it's pretty dirt cheap to make. A couple little vegetables, a couple cans of beans, a couple cans of tomatoes or a can of tomatoes, and you're good to go. I mean, so you're kids, so you probably have chips at home, so you don't even need to go buy those. Alright, so right now I have little cuts on my thumb, little cuts, just, and the the burn is very painful. Uncle Danny's in a lot of pain right now. I'm gonna cry to the pain. So if you hear me sniffling, it's because I'm in a lot of pain, because the heat is getting into my cuts. Second thought, you might want to wear gloves. Really thick, nuclear style gloves. That would be a good idea. Yes, I shall do that next time. Nuclear style gloves. Okay. And red chili. See, a lot of peppers. But the peppers give it some depth. Okay. And we are almost done with the vegetables, the fresh vegetables that we're going to be putting in here. Okay. Oh, I feel so good. I am so happy. Oh, so happy. Oh, God. If you do have a cut or a small opening in your hand, I recommend holding off until you're completely healed and have absolutely no scars and or exposed tissue when making this dish. Take it from me, who is in pain. Alright. Last but not least, now you've seen me do it. I use the peeled garlic because I am, the pain. I am lazy. Okay, now I have a garlic press, but not all of you have garlic presses. So get the peeled garlic or don't. Peel the garlic if you want, but basically you're going to end up with garlic like this. You just take the flat of your knife and you kind of just, you're kind of crushing it down. Why are you crushing it down, Uncle Danny? Well, that's a good question. You're crushing it down because you're going to be starting to release the oils and juices. Okay? The oils and juices are essential. This is what makes garlic so delicious. And I love garlic, so I'm using a lot of garlic. Okay? So, there you go. I got that all crushed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start chopping through this. Okay? Now mind you, I do have a garlic press, but I'm doing this to teach you. And I want you to understand that I'm making a huge sacrifice for you guys right now because my hands are still burning and it feels like my thumb is going numb due to shock. It might fall off due to the amount of pepper oil that has seeped in to my thumb. And if I do lose my thumb, I'll let you know in a follow-up video. Alright. And garlic is crushed, chopped, ready to go. What do we have? We have a bowl of all that vegetable, the carrot, I'm sorry, not the carrot in here yet, the celery, the onion, the red pepper, serrano pepper, habanero pepper, the jalapeno pepper, the red chili peppers. Okay, those are all firmly mixed in there. Okay. Uncle Danny, that's a lot. It is a lot. And the great thing about this chili is it is freezable. You can freeze it and then defrost it when you want it. So you'll have it ready to go. Alright, so I've expertly shredded the carrots using my many techniques learned over the years. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just rough chop it up there. Doesn't matter, really. How much am I using? You know, that's a question I get, is how much do you use? You know, once you have shredded carrots, a half cup, check out about a half cup. Or 1 or 2 carrots, 1 or 2, it's about equal to the amount of celery you use. Alright, so now I have this bowl of wonderful vegetables where you have the onions that are making you cry, and you have the peppers that are making you cough and cry, and everything is wonderful and beautiful. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get everything sweated out, and we'll go into the next step in just a second here. All right, we have moved over to the oven. I got myself a nice large pot. I use my pots are old and beat up, obviously. I put some oil on the bottom. Now you can use olive oil, you can use vegetable oil. Olive oil would be best, it's the healthiest, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, as you can see, yeah, have enough to coat the bottom of that pan. We're going to heat it up and get it nice and hot. All right, now we have our bowl of mixed vegetables, peppers, and whatnot. It is still a cacophony of burning smell from the onions and the peppers. You know, so you make sure you get a good whiff. You know, this would be the opportune time to have somebody next to you with a tissue to wipe down your eyes, so that you don't have to do it with yourself with your peppery hands. Because again, I'm going to caution you, your hands are like weapons right now. Okay, while the oil is getting hot, we're going to get our spice mix ready. Okay, now we're going to need garlic powder, paprika if you have it. Okay, paprika is good. So you see I have Hungarian paprika, and I also have smoked paprika. For this dish, for the depth of flavor, I highly recommend smoked paprika. However, I'm not a hungry college student. Sweet paprika is cheap. Smoked paprika is not. So use what is in your budget. Dried oregano, chili powder, and cumin, salt and pepper. All right, we're going to get a bowl, and then we're going to start measuring this out. All right, my oil has gotten nice and hot. Now I'm going to throw everything in. Okay. All right. I am going to stir this. I'm going to bring the heat down to medium high, and I'm going to stir this, making sure all the vegetables are coated in the oil. Okay, now here's the important part. You're going to sprinkle some salt on top of this. Why? Salt is going to draw out the natural juices in the vegetables even more, and will help to sweat out all those oils and juices and start the caramelization of all of the components in there. We don't want it to completely caramelize, but we want to start that sweetness to come out, those juices and oils to come out. So, a couple sprinkles of salt. And usually when I cook, I'm like, oh, you can smell it. You can smell this, and you can smell that, and all the yummy stuff, and it does. It does have a great cacophony of smell right now, but it is onions and peppers majority, and the onions, while they're getting a sweet smell, the peppers are starting to smell as well, and that does get a little hard to handle sometimes. Okay, so we're going to let that start to sweat here, and you'll see. Okay, everything is starting to sweat. Oh, look at that! All that steam, lots of steam. Okay, nice hot pan. What we were looking for. You can see that. I mean, you can hear the sizzling. You can see the steam coming out. It's a lot. This is one of those situations where I would not recommending to actually put your, take a handful and start smelling the steam to get that wonderful smell. It is a little piquant still. So we're going to let that continue for now. I'm going to let it sweat down for a couple minutes, and then we're going to start the next phase. Alright. In a separate bowl, we are going to take 2 tablespoons. These measurements are what I use. You are going to tailor it to yourself, but I start with 2 tablespoons of chili powder. It is called Chilli. And I look at that and I usually go, just a little bit more. Alright, so about 2. Now, I'm going to go to a teaspoon of garlic powder. We have fresh garlic in there, so that's why I'm not using a lot. 2 teaspoons of cumin. Now, when you are cooking and they give you exact measurements, you can do a exact teaspoon or you can do a heaping teaspoon. I don't care. This is not an exact science. For this, I just use heaping, but you can do exact. Alright, so 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of chili powder. We're going to go with 2 teaspoons of oregano. Okay, and 2 teaspoons of paprika or smoked paprika. Okay, I also like to put in a little bit of fresh black pepper. If you're gonna do pre-cracked, I would do half a teaspoon of pre-cracked black pepper. If you're cracking it yourself, just a decent amount. Okay, now last but not least, salt. How much salt? Well, I do a couple dashes. I already put a couple dashes in the vegetables, so not too much. Now you're just going to mix that in. Okay, and we end up with is a beautiful chili mixture of spices and we're going to go to the next step. Next step is the frijoles, the beans. 2 cans of black beans, 1 can of pinto beans. You can use red beans, whatever beans you want to use, but these are the basics: 2 black, 1 pinto. 2 cans of diced tomatoes, or 1 large can of diced tomatoes, or I actually use San Marzano, however you want to say it. 1 big can of that, 28 ounces. And with that, we're going to show you how to do that one. That's one I like. It helps, I think, with the cutting down some of the heat in the chili that we're building into there. Okay, so get yourself a colander or strainer, and you're going to strain out these beans. Okay. Not a lot of steam coming out. We've lowered the heat a little bit. Okay, it's still sizzling. We've got a lot of their juices coming out. We've taken a lot of the moisture out there. Okay, this the steam is still pretty piquant. Again, a lot of pepper in there. I have drained the 3 cans and rinsed them out. We're going to add that right in. Okay, mix that up a little bit, not too much. Alright, now we're going to do the tomatoes. Alright, with my open can of San Marzano on tomatoes, you can see these are like a stewed tomato in a tomato sauce. Okay, if you're going to use diced tomatoes, what you're going to do is you can open 2 cans of diced tomatoes and just dump them in. Real easy peasy. I like the flavor of this, so what I do is I take the tomato out, okay, and I crush it. Get the next tomato, get it into the pot, and crush it. And I will continue to do that for the whole can. Okay, some people don't like this sensation. It's tomatoes, just slightly cooked tomatoes. It's not a big deal. But if you don't like it, you don't like it. Use the diced tomatoes. Okay, you don't have to go through this process with the diced tomatoes, and they give you a really good tasting chili regardless. I'll just do this because I guess I'm a snob. Okay, so there we go. I pour all the sauce in. There we go. I'm going to go wash my hand again. This is the 18th time washing my hands since I cut the peppers, and the burn still hasn't receded. I'm just letting you know I am losing hope that my hands will ever be pepper free. Let's get to stirring. Okay, we're going to get the heat to medium on this now, okay? Let's get that heat to medium. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the spices, and then we're going to add some broth. Otherwise, you can use chicken broth, but it's not vegetarian then. You can use a nice vegetable broth. I'm going to use a vegetable broth for this that you buy in stores. It's a box, a can, whatever you want to use. Alright, we got a good heat coming here. I'm going to take our spice mix from before and it's empty. Got it all in there. This is what we're dealing with. Okay, we're going to okay, get it in there nice mixed in all together. Alright, and then after that we're going to add the broth in. much broth do you add? I'm gonna give you an idea based on the amount of your thing. You want to have broth that is 2 inches over your solids in there. So we're gonna pour broth until the broth comes up and it's sitting 2 inches over the solids. Okay. So I'll show you what that looks like in 2 seconds here. Okay. I'm using vegetable broth, low sodium. I use organic. It's what I can find that fits our needs. Okay. Okay, so for me that was a whole box. That was 32 fluid ounces in 1 quart. Okay, but I got about, before I hit solid, I got about 2 inches, 2.5 inches. I'm gonna mix this in. Bring in low medium heat. Okay, low medium heat for well, let's start with 45 minutes and see where we're at that point. Okay, so we're almost done here. What we want to do now is we're going to get the last steps set up here. So get some fresh cilantro. Okay. Cut, ready to go. Some fresh lime. Now, if you don't have fresh lime, and you don't, if you have a bottle of lime juice, that will work just as well. And I do like the fresh lime though. It is more flavorful. Also, I know some people will use dried cilantro. I would recommend not using dried cilantro. I don't like the flavor of dried cilantro. I don't think it does well in this, but if that's what you want to use, you're more than welcome to use it. Okay, we are going to get a blender ready. Okay, we're going to use the blender for the next step. Okay, so let's look at where our chili is at. Our chili has reduced. It's come to a nice rolling boil, not too hot. Okay. All right, it is smelling fantastic. Now it's smelling fantastic. Everything has come together. The pepper has been tamed with the tomato and the sweetness of the celery and the carrot and the onion. And so now we have a more balanced flavor, but now we're going to do that last step. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a nice ladle. Okay, and we're going to ladle some of the chili into the blender. Okay, so as you can see, I've ladled some of the chili into the blender, and I am putting in my cilantro. Okay, I'm also going to squeeze in my limes. Now, you can start out with 1 lime, blend it up, get a good sense if it needs a little bit more acidity or not. If you like it, you're good to go. If you want more, you're good to go. Alexa, timer off. And so, again, I'm making this the way that my family likes it, that I like it. We have a different flavor profile than other people. So again, what you're going to do is, this is basic. You're going to end up using what you want, what you guys like. Okay, there's going to be some changes that you're going to make. This is going to be your recipe after this. Once you make your changes, it is your recipe. And that's the recipe that you're going to go with. And that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to make this your own. Okay? from here, we're going to pour this back into the chili pot. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to mix that all together. Okay, I still have this on medium-low heat. And that is what it looks like now. It is a nice chili. It's not a soup. It's got mixed in. And what you're going to do is you're going to taste it. And if you want to add something, you add something. If you don't want to add anything, you're good to go. Like I said, you can put this on top of chili. You can put this on top of rice, chili dogs. You can put this on top of chips for nachos. Just a nice dip. It's so versatile. You can put it on top of fish. You can have it, so many things you can do. But number one that I want you to take away from this is that this is not hard. This is healthy. And this is a fantastic, easy dish that you can win a lot of accolades from because it is such a complex flavor. So, bon appetit, enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions through the messenger. Bye.